back to another edition of Boundaries and Brotherhood. And today's workshop, guys, we're gonna do a special workshop. So we want to get you guys to this point where you can get to what you need to do in these workshops so that you can become the sovereign man that you really want to be. Instagram is going live, TikTok is going live, YouTube is going live, Facebook is going live, everything is going live. And today we want to do with a question, right? Um, are you exhausted from fighting an invisible enemy in your own head, constantly whispering all this crap that's going on? Are you basically sick and tired of acting like, let's say, a passive background member? This is going to build up on our workshops and what we do, building up on the last pillar called the mindset shift, rewriting your narrative for yourself, your family, the people that you come in contact with, because this is all from Doc's SERR method. It's all a base for everything going forward. And Doc, I want to just say, it's just so great to be doing this type of stuff for men because we're saving men's lives and they're telling me out here in the streets. Like, thank you for being consistent. Thank you for you and Doc doing what you've been doing. We don't answer, we don't comment, but we watch when we can. And that's all I need to hear, because how great channels start out is we be consistent, dedicated, and we bring the right information. But today we're going to be going over pillar number 7, mind shift, the mind shift change, and rewiring your narrative. Doc, while I get the slides already, do what you do best. Reintroduce yourself, and what are we going over?
All right, gentlemen. So I'm Dr. Keith Fairclough, and today we're going to be talking about rewriting the narrative. And what that means is your life is actually the combination of the stories that you tell yourself over and over again about what things mean. So ultimately, things have no meaning outside of what we give it. If someone cuts you off in traffic, that has zero meaning or value outside of what you give it. Because one person could say, oh, they're probably in a rush, or maybe they're just not paying attention, or maybe they were texting or something along those lines, or maybe they're just not being safe or whatever. And someone else could say, how dare they? They're so disrespectful. They're just cutting in front of me like that. They're so dangerous. How could they do that? Whatever, right? And the same thing happened, but you gave it a meaning. You give it a narrative, and that narrative is going to control your life. And depending on the narrative that you write is going to depend on the life that you get. And so all the things we've talked about thus far, this one right here, this pillar, this is the one you really want to hone in on all of them, but this one you really want to get a hold of, because even if you do everything right from everything else, if you are still writing a bad narrative, if you're still writing a narrative where you're a victim or everyone's hurting you or everyone's attacking you and things like that, you're still not going to have peace. That things still aren't going to work, because then even when you do all the right stuff and people respond to it, because you have a narrative where I'm not worth anything or no one cares about me or anything like that, that's all you're ever going to view it as. And whatever they do is never going to be enough. And ultimately, you will never be happy. You will never be fulfilled, and you will never be sovereign. So this part is critical. You must learn how to change the narrative so that you could have the life you actually want. Right? Like, think of it like this. If I'm writing a story, shouldn't I write the story the way I want to write it and to get the outcomes I want to get? I'm not going to write a story where everything goes wrong and I'm mad at the story. I wrote the story. That's it. I wrote the story. I gave meaning to what the characters did, what they said, how they showed up. I'm the one that did that. So it's the same thing in real life, where you get a chance to rewrite your narrative in a way that is more beneficial to you, where you can start seeing the good that is actually in your life, the love that people actually are trying to give you. You can start seeing that, as opposed to nobody cares about me, nobody loves me, I'm all out here by myself, nobody understands, and then living that narrative out to your own detriment.
All right, good. And this is where we're going to start, guys. Have you ever wondered why you can watch all the videos, read, do all the seminars, read the self-help books, try the new routine, but you're stuck in the same place next year? In this one, the final one, is going to be a mind shift change, because here's the brutal truth, guys. 99% of men completely miss the whole mark and cannot live by the story that they created, because they usually don't make it about themselves, or they've been diluted or misguided and trapped inside a narrative that you didn't create yourself, right? Until you can rewire your brain, change your beliefs, And until you can change that underlying script that's going in that direction, you'll still always be the same. And that's what this challenge, this not challenge, but this workshop is going to be about today. This is for you guys because this is where beliefs, dreams, intentions, behaviors all come into fruition right now. And it's going to start with Doc right here. And then we're going to do this right now because for some reason, guys, you guys like these workshops. And so far, these things has been good. Doc.
Yes.
Pilot number 7, the mind shift change, rewiring the narrative and authoring your own identity. Guys, these are all coming from Doc's words, not mine's, not anybody else's. This is Doc's systematic method. Because why? A man cannot live beyond the story he believes about himself, like he told himself. Doc, please explain, my brother.
Well, kind of just expanding on, on what we were just talking about, right? And Gordon, you brought up a good point that there are some stories we are telling ourselves that we didn't even write ourselves. We've talked about it many times about how a lot of our mind is programmed by the time we're 7, and most of it's programmed by the time we're 10. And it's a lot of times it's not based off the stories that we've written and we've told ourselves. A lot of times it's written by stories we're adopting from other people. And so there's a reason why you might still end up like your father or act like your father or respond like your mother and act like your mother because you're taking their stories, and some people are blessed and lucky to not adopt the stories or write their own narrative at a young age. So for instance, some guys see the brokenness of their home and they write the story like, that's never going to be me. Some guys see it like, oh, my parents were on drugs and alcohol. That's never going to be me. But unfortunately, more often than not, we don't follow that same path. More often than not, we usually follow the path of whatever story someone has written for us. And so, and that's the I think a really important part. No matter what you do, no matter how much money you make, no matter how many abs you get, no matter how many cars you buy, no matter what position you have, you can never, ever, 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 ever go beyond the story you tell yourself. So if you tell yourself the story that you're not enough, there's no achievement that will make you feel that way. If you tell yourself that you're not worthy of love, there's not enough women or children or anything in the world that can make you feel that way. Friends that can make you feel that way, ever. That's why you end up on this perpetual hamster wheel of trying and trying and doing and working and then you get the results, but it's not enough because you don't ever believe it is. And unfortunately, it can actually block you because sometimes what happens with us as men is that we will share what our needs are and we will share them with somebody. And then they will do those things. And because we don't believe we're worthy or because we've written some narrative, what ends up happening is no matter what they do, it'll never be enough. Oh, well, you didn't do it good enough or you didn't do it fast enough but you didn't do this or you didn't do that. And then the other person feels like, well, shoot, I can't do anything right. And then you still feel that. So unfortunately, no matter what, that's why I'm saying before, no matter how much change, whatever changes you make, if you don't change that narrative, you're going to end up in the same place. You're going to end up really sad, really down, really depressed. And unfortunately, that could take you down a really, really dark road. So it's critical that you learn how to change your mindset and how to shift it and how to start seeing things differently, writing your own narrative, giving it the meaning that you want it to have. And instead of you giving a meaning that's detrimental to you.
I mean, so correct because you think about if you was to look at how many beliefs you came from, how many beliefs or things that you were taught as a child that you carried it over, like Doc said. Gary Vee says it. Eric Thomas says it. You mean what do you call that? Tony Robbins says it. You can't run away from your own shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And if the beliefs is in your head that it's not going to work out, there's no outside, external, like Doc said, anything that's going to suffice you because you can't run away from your own thoughts and patterns. But we're going to change that today because why? When you shift your mindset, you write your own story, you change your own beliefs, you change your ideology, you change your behaviors, you change the people around you, you change the goals. Guess what happens? Things move in a really good direction for you where you can just be happy with yourself, right or wrong, and learn from it, right? Because that's what we want for you guys. Because when you do this for yourself, guess who benefits also? The people around you that's closest.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
The people that you affect, the people that you guide, the people you are responsible for. And that's what we want for you. And that's where we're going to go into this. Boom.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So we'll go into like the whole belief cycle, right? And how beliefs are created. So beliefs are created in two ways, right? One, they're created by how we perceive a situation, and then again, what we think about it, right? Our perception. So here's what it looks like, guys, right? So there's an event that takes place. Again, I'm using the car cutting you off in traffic as an example. That event takes place, has no value, no meaning, anything like that. Our brain takes in information. Okay, we just got cut off. And then what we have is our perspective. Our perspective is our lens through which all events go through. That's what gives it the meaning. That's what gives it the color, right? So that event goes through your perspective, and then that creates a thought. And if we're doing it in a negative way, how dare they? They cut me off. They're disrespecting me, just like other people disrespect me. Then that creates what? Anger, frustration,
Right.
hurt. Then that becomes the behavior, right? So you just went from event, goes through your perspective, to thought. Thought then creates an emotion.
Mhm.
Emotion, and remember, that's a direction that your brain is giving you direction. Okay, this is what's going on. This is what so we need to do this, right? This thing, whatever it is, or whatever the emotion is telling us. So then what do? We then speed up next to the person and we flick them off, or we cuss them out, or we throw up our hands or something like that, right? And then what happens with that, of course, they're either going to ignore us, which is, or they're going to give it back to us, which is going to reinforce the belief, which is, people don't care about me, people don't respect me, right? And then that strengthens the perspective. And so now any other event that comes across that way goes to that perspective. And that's what happens. I think it's critical for you to understand that all we do on a regular basis is reinforce the things we believe. That's all we do. That's it. You
Yeah.
think of it like this: we're in politics. I think we're in an election season right now. So think of it like this: how many of you, regardless of whether you're Republican or Democrat, how many of you are actually going to the other side and be like, you know what? Let me try to consider what they're saying. Let me see if there's any middle ground. Let me see. No one's doing that. Nobody is
Right.
doing it.
Right.
Watching Fox, guess what? You're like, yeah, the Democrats are evil and bad, and oh yeah, you're just reinforcing your belief. Or if you're
Right. Right.
watching CNN, you're like, oh, yeah, the Republicans are bad. They're so evil. Ooh, yeah. All you're doing is reinforcing your belief, right?
And yep.
And check this out as well. And the system knows this. They know, they
Because
literally
they're
are banking
benefiting from
on
it.
you
Yes.
reinforcing your belief. That's why
Right.
your algorithms, when you start looking at that
Right.
alpha male content stuff, it's going to give you alpha male content stuff to reinforce your
Yeah.
beliefs.
Right.
If it's giving you, whatever, thirst trap videos, it's sending that to you to reinforce your beliefs. They understand how the system works. They understand how to craft your destiny. All right. They said the architecture of your destiny. They know
Yep.
how to do it. And they've been doing it. It's right there in plain sight, but you just didn't see it. And you thought you were a victim of the system. No, they just know how to hijack your system. And if you don't know how to take control of that, if you don't know how to start rewriting the narrative, if you don't know how to take a step back and be like, okay, I don't want to necessarily just take what everybody says at face value. I want to actually be the architect of my own destiny, right? I want to be the one to write my narrative. I want to be the one to give the meaning that I want to give to these things. Because then when you start challenging those things, and then you can start, because what ends up happening is event happens, it goes through your old filter, right? Your old
Absolutely.
perspective,
Yep.
you know?
All the time.
And so at first maybe you think, oh my gosh, they cut me off, and how dare they? But then once you start learning how to pause and be like, okay, wait, they don't even, you can start questioning that thought. Do they even know me? What would cause them to cut me specifically off on this road of hundreds, if not thousands, of drivers? Like they came and picked just me out. And now you can start challenging those
Yeah.
thoughts, and then you can start changing the perspective and shoot the event back through the perspective, a new perspective. Like maybe they're just in a rush. Maybe their wife is,
Having a baby, all kind of different stuff.
having a
It
baby.
doesn't pertain to
You
you.
know,
Yep.
yeah, maybe they're trying to get to an interview, because if they don't get to this interview on time, they're
Yeah.
going to lose their house. They're going to lose their family. Any other
You don't
thing it
know.
could possibly
Yep.
mean, right? To just stop and ask yourself the question, well, what else could this possibly mean? And using that in your own life, what else could this possibly mean? And I'm gonna get a little secret right here. Like little, you can put a little star next to it, write it down, whatever. But I'm gonna tell you this: it's never about you.
It never
Newsflash.
is. It
It's
never
never about.
is. It's not supposed to be.
Yeah, the way your wife treats you, or your kids treat you, or your boss treats you, or it's never about you. This works for everybody. Is making their own meaning behind a thing. That's
Yeah.
their choice. That
Right.
they have to. They're in control of their behaviors, right? All of us are. So it's never about. It's never about you. It's always about other people. So that's just a big secret when it comes to this, and a really
Mhm.
helpful when it comes to teasing that stuff out. Because if you can stop making it about you, those offenses and things that come, and it's a lot easier to find another meaning behind it. Oh, maybe they've been traumatized, or maybe they've been going through this, or maybe they had a long day, or anything like that. And I promise you right now, when I work with my clients and I tell them to start doing this, and I tell them to start thinking in this way and start asking that question time and time and time and time again, invariably, which means it never changes. It's the same thing every time. Oh yeah, the person was struggling with this. Oh yeah, they were going through that. Oh yeah, they had this own issue in their own life. Oh this. Oh, they weren't even aware of it. Oh this. Oh, it's a misinterpretation every single time. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. But ultimately, yes, we are the architects of our destiny. We get to write our story. We get to choose what things mean. And that's going to dictate the direction our life goes. But
I mean,
yeah, go ahead, Gordon.
yeah, no, I get. If you take any beliefs, because I had a hard time believing this, because when you're in a situation like if you're watching this video live or leave us a comment, or you're looking at certain things and you wonder why things just happen the same thing over and over and over, you have to change your belief. For a drug addict, you think nothing's going to change, but you keep believing that the drugs is going to help you get over this whole hump. If you're a criminal, if you're in the gang and you think you're generational because you was born into it, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be doing the same thing until you break that curse for yourself and make the choice to change. You're always going to believe that. And it took me a while sitting in a bunk for years and years, looking in at my locker, like, what am I doing wrong? Why is it I'm still doing the same crap over and over, and I always end up behind bars somewhere? Why do I keep doing this? Then I have to change my belief, right? Then it changed, because a lot of things come with what comes first. I got questioned, or I got challenged by a counselor with them. What comes first? Is it your beliefs or your emotions? Right? The beliefs
Mhm,
control the emotions. The emotions
mhm,
control your behavior. The behavior changes what direction you're going to go and what you
mhm.
can do. And then the direction you go changes your path. And once you change your path, it changes your goals,
Yeah.
right? And then in our workshop, in our live workshops, we have sheets that challenge you on this that we have drawn out. And then it comes down to your values or your things that you believe in, and we use that to mold into something that you can have, so that you can practice, so you change everything about yourself, so you can have what's on the right side at the end of the path of the tunnel. Because like Doc said, no matter what happens, there are people moving the needle, and you got to be able to change that needle for yourself and make the choice. Because if you don't do it, your path will always still the same. I am walking proof of this, right? And not just that changes, not the path, your mindset, your mindset, your
Yeah.
heart, everything changes, because now you're living with objectivity, purpose, and fulfillment,
Mhm,
right? Because you want to architect a destiny so that you can control it, including those ideologies of it, right?
mhm.
Because like Doc said, if you're not questioning the other side or what you believe in, it's like I'll give you another example. If you're not questioning why are you drawing this block and you're protecting this block that you had nothing to do, you weren't even born with, right? You're getting shot looking for another person like you to shoot and kill because of the colors they're wearing or being their ideologies. Where did you come from? Oh, I'm just a follower. Oh, okay. This I'll put a gun in hand, be a crash test dummy, and
Mhm.
that's extreme. But it happens every single day. It's happening right now, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
happening in Vegas. It's happening
Mhm.
all over. It doesn't. There's no. But if you can change that into not being egotistical. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a difference between egotistical and having pride,
Yeah.
but to change that, at least you would have a chance. But it does take a little work, right? It
Hmm.
does take a little work. In fact, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
But we try to make it easier for you to
Hmm.
understand it. Because from the street knowledge, from what I have, to the therapeutic side from Doc, there is nobody else doing this together. There's always one sided, right? But not
Hmm.
together.
Yeah.
All right.
So when we're coming up, right? And again, first, so before I even get into that, so our brain is designed to keep us alive. It's not designed to keep us make us sovereign. It's not designed to make us successful. It's not designed to make us thrive. That's not what our brain is designed to do. Our brain, it has one primary purpose: keep us alive. That's what
Mm-hmm.
it is, right? And
Always.
if we don't change that default mode, then we're not going to have the life we want. We're just not. It's just not going to happen, right? So that means we have to be the ones to make sure that we are doing the work to change that default mode. We are doing the work to move from survival to actually thriving and to being sovereign, right? And so, and I don't know if, I guess everyone can't see the slides, but
They can.
even the slides say, well, I know
They can.
there's some on some platforms, on all platforms they can.
All platforms you can see now.
Oh, beautiful.
we've
Excellent.
we've
Okay.
upgraded
Yeah.
the media system. Everything is upgraded.
So going through the survival aspect, right? And we can just kind of read right off here, right? Again, like I said, the brain's designed for safety. It's optimized for safety. How do we stay alive? How do we have our basic needs met? Things like that, right? The brain also, it loves patterns. Like I said before, it's a meaning making
Yeah.
machine. It loves patterns. But
Yeah.
where do patterns exist? They exist in the past, right?
Yep.
That's what that means. I've learned these system of behaviors from past experiences, and so that's where my focus is. And so if I see any semblance of this, I'm now going to generalize any semblance of this behavior, a tone, a word, an action, as, oh, that's what that means, right? Which is very unhealthy for us because we take so many things out of context based off of those, misrepresentations of people's behaviors and actions towards us, and also making it personal, right? Because a lot of times we make it personal because we're trying to keep ourselves safe. That's why we default to that, you know. And then there's the core question when it comes to survival: is it comfortable? And the reason why they say comfort kills is because there's no growth in comfort, and
Yep.
you will
No growth.
stay, because there are certain situations. I actually was having a conversation with a client yesterday where we were talking about, how there are some people that are comfortable in dysfunction. They are
Yeah.
absolutely comfortable in dysfunction. There are people that are comfortable using drugs. There are people that are comfortable drinking alcohol. There are people that are comfortable doing things that are naturally bad for them, eating bad food and things like that. Why?
Yeah.
Because the brain it knows that if it's comfortable, if it feels good, then that means it's safe. That's a generalization
Yeah.
that the brain makes, which is a terrible generalization because there's plenty of things that feel good that are extremely dangerous for you. Eating a lot of sugar feels so good, but it is extremely dangerous. Heart disease, diabetes, cancer, regular sickness in between, you name it. But it feels good, it tastes good. Your brain defaults to, well, then it must be safe, right? And that's why it's so dangerous, right? And then, of course, and then the result you get after that is, it says, like I said, protective, but it paralyzes you. But it's not even protective. It's not protective. Being a follower, it's safe. I don't have to think for myself, but it's not
I
protective.
was just about to
You
say that.
know, like the example you gave before, Gordon, like, yeah, it's probably easier to hang out with the guys on the block that, all live near you and protect this piece of government property that doesn't belong to us and has no asset or value to us except, or not except, it's more of a liability because all we do is end up losing our life over it, but it's safe, right?
Yeah.
Because it's what I know.
I
That's
was
what your
just
brain
about to say.
says,
Yeah.
because it's what I know. I know
Yeah.
dysfunction. I know being treated poorly. I know how to deal with that. I know how to work with that. But that doesn't keep you alive. It keeps you, and I would even say, really doesn't help you even survive either. That's the critical part. I need you guys to understand.
You
Like,
you
being,
let me build off of that one,
yeah,
right? You just you don't build off of the survival of that because, like you said, you recognize it, you know it, and it's simple to you. Because everything that you mentioned earlier, the drugs, the alcohol, the gangs, the criminal, I'm a career criminal. And
Mm,
I always knew that this is because this is what I knew. This is what
mhm.
I know to survive. Even though whatever I was taught, I threw it out the window because it didn't conform to what I wanted,
Yeah,
right? Or it didn't conform to what that was going through with, say, my trauma at home, right?
yeah,
Because you're covering it up and you're protecting yourself with these things, and
yeah.
sooner or later you just start lying to yourself. And then once
Mhm.
you start lying to yourself because of those beliefs, that's when it goes all bad, right?
Yeah,
But no, I hate to interrupt you, but I had to
yeah,
throw that one in there because what
yeah,
the result is, right? Like your slide says,
yeah.
empowerment and expansive if you can challenge it. Let me ask you this, Doc. What would be something someone could challenge themselves about their situation right now, since it's a brief workshop
Mhm.
that they could do right now?
Well, honestly, just ask yourself the question, kind of like the slide says, is this true? Is this what this means? Right? You know, just ask you that question. Is this 100% true? Do I know for sure that this is what this means?
Mm,
Do I know for sure
mm,
that this is what they
mm.
meant when they said this? Because it's rare that well, so one, question yourself with that, and then two, asking someone else, hey, what do you mean by that? Instead of jumping to
Yeah,
conclusions and basing everything off your past and doing all of that, right? Oh, they're disrespecting me, they don't like me, da 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 da. No, why don't you? What do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean by that? You know, and I can guarantee the answer that they give is going to be something about themselves if they know how to communicate properly. A lot of times, because people don't know how to communicate properly, they'll just use a whole bunch of you statements. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But long story short, just really ask yourself that question for yourself: is this true? Is it what
right.
I know
Where'd it
without a
come from?
shadow of a doubt that this is
Yeah.
100% true? If everybody else looks at the same situation, they will say the exact same thing. The answer is no. The answer is absolutely not, especially if you're just making it about yourself, right?
Now, I want to go with this slide. Okay. On one side, you said your brain is designed, optimized for safety. I want you to challenge your brain. If my thoughts and beliefs were trained for safety, I want to say, now, how can I make my brain and emotions and my situation for purpose? Right.
Mm,
Let's take the other one. Focus. Everything is reacting on the past of what you've been taught. What if you change put the pen back in your hand, like we said, and take off the governor and start writing your own story for your own future and the people you come in contact with? And they take this slide right here, put verses, and you have a challenge right there that you can practice with it in the workshop, right?
mhm.
The core question is, are you comfortable doing the same old bullshit you've been doing, or versus, is it really true and what am I benefiting from it? Right? It's real simple. It's right there in front of you.
And I think that's the thing, right? Like, so the brain's programmed for survival, but everything that it recognizes as survival actually leads to your death,
Mm,
right?
hmm.
Yeah, keep eating like that and see what happens to your health. Keep
Yep.
drinking like that. Keep using drugs like that. Keep running the block like that. Keep running around and cheating like that. You keep running around and doing that. Keep running around and doing wrong by people like that. Keep abusing your children like that. Keep abusing your wife. You keep doing those things that are comfortable to you. Engage in those dysfunctional relationships over and over again and see what your life looks like on the other side. There's a reason why there's some people that are in their 30s and look like they're in their 50s. There's some reason why some people in their 80s look like they're in their daggone 50s and 40s, right? You
What are you
you think
talking
it's
about?
because of the skin routine? You think it's because of this or that? No, it's because how do I want my life to go? How do I want to look at these things? Because one of the underlying things we didn't talk about yet was the power of stress and what stress does to you. Stress will
Oh,
age you.
oh,
It will
kill you.
destroy your
Literally.
body, which
Yep.
makes sense because if you think about it, if you run your car into the ground and you do zero maintenance to it and you just keep redlining it and redlining and redlining constantly, then you're going to destroy your car. And it doesn't matter how new it is, you will destroy and run it into the ground. And that's what stress does to your body. That's what
Same
this
thing.
survival mode does to your body. You understand
Yep.
survival mode means you're in fight or flight more often than not. That's literally what it means. You're releasing cortisol more often than not. And your body's not designed for that. And on top of that, you're
Mhm.
not even letting go of it. Just
That's
like
the
a red
worst
line.
part.
You red line, you did it, you hit it. If you ever raced before and you're doing a quarter mile and you go as fast as you possibly can, you maybe hit that red line if you can within that quarter mile, and you let off the gas and you just let and it goes back, right? And there's a waiting period to your turn again. And during that waiting period, the engine cools down, you can tweak and move things, all that. That's the same thing for the body. We hit the fight or flight response. There's supposed to be a debriefing, a waiting period where the cortisol gets all reabsorbed and everything
Yeah.
calms down. And we go from sympathetic to parasympathetic. And now it's just, But if you're just constantly there and you're constantly
Woo!
dumping cortisol and you're constantly inflamed and you're eating bad and you're drinking and you're doing drugs and you're smoking and you keep getting into fights, yeah, that's what you're used to. Yeah, you're those are the patterns. But yeah, that's exactly why you're killing yourself on a regular basis. That's why you're having a heart attack at 40 years old when you're supposed to, be healthy, right? Because so that survival mode, I just want to really drive this point home. It's not really that's the dirty secret of it, right? It's not really surviving. It's really just fast tracking your way to death. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Fast tracking your way to death, right?
That's the
But
code right there.
the sovereignty mode, you start taking control. You start looking at things differently. You start moving with more gratitude and appreciation and love. You start asking yourself the question, is that true? Is that really what it means? Is that really what they meant? Then you shift completely. Now you start moving into being sovereign. Now you start moving in purpose. Now you start feeling empowered. Now you start feeling in control. Now you can start moving into the uncomfort zone and you start growing. Now you can actually start really living. And that's the power of that, right? That's the power of learning to change your mindset and change your narrative. You could actually really start living life instead of living something on repeat that you learned when you were 7 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, Dr. Keith. That's Dr. Keith. That's my guy right there. He could have been preached. You going for that thing right there. You do that, Dr. Keith. We're talking the hip hop preacher, Dr. Keith right there. He's getting on there right there. No, that's exactly right though. Because if you got to think of it that way, because you're just fast tracking your way to putting yourself in the grave, and they're gonna have a scan code of what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where we're trying to change that so you can enjoy your life, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Oh, there we go. Oh, let me see.
Okay.
Go ahead. Wait. Shoot. Okay, wait. Boom. Yeah, there we go. Excavating the lie.
Okay. So this is talking about going back. Where did that belief come from? Where did that belief come from? Again, fast track it for you, right? Go back to any time between when you were 0 and 10 years old, right? And then hyper focus on your parents. What did you learn from them? What did they do? How did they show up? What did they say? Did they dismiss you? Did they invalidate you? How did they respond? What did they say? Go back to them, those moments and see where it shows up, right? Because I guarantee you're going to find it. You're going to find where the words they were saying to you, you're going to see what they were saying, right? Think about, like, for instance, like racism, for example, right? That's not natural. Racism isn't natural. That's not a natural thing. That's learned, right? Where does it come from? It comes from your parents, right? They're running around using the N word or they're using the C word, or they're using all these words and things like that. And then they're telling you these stories of how horrible black people are, how horrible white people are. And they're feeding that to you over and over and over again. And now it shifts your perspective and your lens to look for that. Oh, I'm not looking for when the black people do something wrong, or I'm looking for where white people did this, and they did something wrong, and how they slighted us. And then now you compile all these cherry-picked stories, and you create the belief, right? You create the belief, and as you create that belief, you start living that out, because that's all you're looking for. I mean, think about it. If as a black man, right, if I only looked at what the bad things white people did, I only looked at that, and I generalize that to everybody, right? Because that's another thing our brain likes to do. It likes to generalize, right?
Of course.
It doesn't like to look at context. It doesn't like to say, oh, well, this person right here. No, it doesn't like to do. It says, if you are generally in this area, just vaguely, generally in this area, then we're going to apply this rule to you. We're going to apply this belief to you. And so then that's what would happen if I were to believe that lie. I would only, oh yeah, they're all horrible, they're all this, they're all that.
Right.
Even a subtle thing or a subtle comment that a white person might make, oh, see, you're racist, right? And vice versa. A white person might
Right.
look at, oh, see those black people, all they do is just suck up, the services and blah, 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 and they're just gangsters and yada, yada, yada. Man, it's like we're looking at a fraction of a percent of a population. And more often, and then again, if you start really digging into the belief and digging into the lie and start asking the question, is that true? You start teasing it out and you start pulling it apart. And you start realizing you need to stop painting this big, broad, general brush. Start looking at the context, right? Start looking at the context. There are people that do bad things, but not everybody that looks a certain way does bad things, right? And so that's why it's so important for us to excavate the lie. And this is the danger. This is the danger of algorithms. They don't want you to excavate the lie. You think
your own brain has it.
Yeah,
has its own algorithm also.
Wants you to excavate their lies. You think the Democratic Party wants the hard found like Democrats or hard found? You think they want you excavating the lies and really pulling it apart and be like, that's actually not right. That's actually not accurate. That's actually not true. Oh, they're not all that way. Well, that's not exactly what they mean. You think they want you doing that? No, of course they don't want you doing that. They want you to believe the lie. They want you to see. They want you to see, because then here's the critical part. You can't be sovereign if you could be controlled.
Yep. True. I mean, yep. True.
And if you are to be sovereign, right, you have to be able to start breaking down those beliefs that are not serving you. Ask yourself that question. Is this belief that I have serving me? Is it allowing me to be my full, true, authentic self? Is it allowing me to really live out the values that I want to live out? Is it serving? Does this belief serve me? Right? Because if it doesn't serve me, it doesn't align with me, then I need to change it. I need to break it apart. I need to get rid of it. Right? And so when we talk about excavating the lie, again, going back to where it originated at, right? Understanding what the lie is or what the belief is, you go back and find, okay, where did it come from? And is this my narrative or is this someone else's narrative? You can identify, well, what's the purpose of it? Why, what is it supposed to be doing for me? Right? Maybe also to keep you safe. Well, I'm not in danger. I'm not in danger, right? So I don't necessarily need it. And then you start going, okay, well, what do I want to believe? What is the right way to go about doing it? How were my parents wrong? How were these people wrong when they said what they said? What's the nuance in there? And I'm telling you right now, this is really critical. It's really, really critical. You guys have to understand that there's a system at play where they are banking on you not doing this.
Of course.
You have to understand that they do not want they do not want men to be sovereign. They do not want men to think for themselves. They do not want men to stand up and do what's right. They do not want men to do that. I did a live stream, I think it was last year, the year before, when I was talking about one of the greatest lies ever told, right? And I was talking about how men, we can't feel, we're not allowed to feel, we're not allowed to express our emotion and things like that, right? And even go down even a little bit deeper, because if you can't do that, then you're not going to challenge anything, right? They're going to be able to program you the way they want you programmed, because they know if we as men become sovereign, they know if we as men stand up and say, no, enough is enough. All right, we'll cut all that foolishness out in the government. Enough. We're not doing that anymore, right? They're gonna tighten up. They're gonna tighten up. Okay, well, shoot, we better get right. These corporations, if all of us as men stood up and we were sovereign and said, yeah, enough is enough. Yeah, no, you're not exploiting our kids anymore. Sorry. Nope. Enough is enough. You're not exploiting us anymore. Sorry. We will shut this thing down, especially in America. Imagine if every man in America was sovereign. And then we said, enough is enough. We're not allowing you to come for our families. We're not allowing you to come for our children, our wives. We're not allowing you to do these things that you want to do. So we're shutting because the thing of this, if we shut everything down here in America, the whole world stops. I'm going to say it one more time. If we shut it down here in America, the whole world stops. That's the power we have if we were to come together and be sovereign. And I'm not trying to start a revolution. Right? Yeah. I'm just trying to point out the fact of that, the importance of changing these narratives. Right? We can dictate change, not just in our personal life, but even in the world, if we so chose to. But we cannot allow ourselves to believe lies that are not even our own from the
that's
past.
The worst part.
That's the worst part. It's not even ours. It's not even like, oh, this is what I want to believe. No, someone implanted this in your mind from a very young age before you had a choice at all. So that's the importance of digging up the lie, changing it, so you can start passing on something better to our children. You can start living the life that you want instead of living in misery and living in victimhood and living in survival
Oh,
death
victimhood, yeah.
mode, right? Because that's all these lies do. Having people grift you and take your money and things like that. That's all these lies do. So that's the importance of making sure that you excavate the lie. Cut out I would even go even deeper. Cut out the cancer, because that's what it is. It's a cancer
Basically.
that infects every single, it's not just a lie, it's a cancer that infects every part of your life. Cut it out. Cut that part out so you can actually start living the life you want instead of living the life that someone else said you're supposed to have.
That's deep. I want to challenge you guys today. What everybody watching this, everybody watching the replay, everybody in the community, and guys, if you want to join our free community that get content every day, go to boundariesandbrotherhood.com. Check us out. See what we got going on, because the challenge for the day is right. Think of one belief that you want to question about, and you wonder where it came from. When you understand that, you challenge that, and you want to know the backstory. Like when I look at people, I always want to know their backstory. For some reason, I want to know what makes them tick, grind, and everything else, wrong or right, political, this, sports team, whatever. Because it kind of like intrigues me. Because I want somebody to know my backstory, because they don't know what I've been through. You don't know what somebody's going through at that time. Like you said, you don't know what they're going through, getting cut off on their freeway. You don't know what it is. Maybe there's a backstory, and that's what's the cool part about it. Because once you open mind to your open mindedness to everything you get in a different state, you start challenging your own thoughts. Then you start looking at appreciative things, being grateful for everything, doing things that you can be your compass, your shield, your boundary, and you can open and close it what you want. Because once you understand that, a lot of things move in your favor, where you don't get frustrated no more. You don't get reactive no more. You're in control of everything about your life, including the people around you. And it's a different feeling. And guess what? People get jealous of that a lot. A lot. Because it's not about the monetary things or the things. It's you being in control of your own life. And like you said, you command it. Once you can command it, there's an essence, a state about you that you can control a room. That's what we want to get with you. Because that's the part that really, really, there we go. Let's go to this one.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Just a quick comment about controlling a room. And, the crazy part about controlling a room is that, it's kind of a misnomer, right? Because it's not a matter of controlling a room. It's a matter of just being so in control of myself that people notice. That's it.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's not that everybody is just like enthralled and just no. It's just like, oh man, he stands out. Why? Because he's sovereign. Because he's being himself. Because that's it. So, and that's the point we want to get you guys to, right? Because you don't have to be some big shot executive. You don't have to be some super business owner or some community leader or anything. You don't have to be that to have that. You could be that in your own family. You could be that in your own friend group. You could be that anywhere. Right.
And that's what we want for you. I'll give you a story, right? When I was working at the Cosmopolitan, I've been around celebrities. I've been around so many different people, sportscasters, this and that, everyone you name it. Because I was at the door at Cosmopolitan. The one that stood out to me, and I've checked in superstars, the rap stars, everything. The one that stood out to me, Doc, I'm gonna tell you right now, 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson. That guy moves differently because he don't give a crap about nobody else, and his presence is there. I've checked in Apple. What the Apple CEO? I've talked to his phone, drove his car, everything. What do you call the Apple? Not the Steve Cook, the one that did with Steve Jobs, his partner. Because they always used
Steve Wozniak.
Wozniak. I even got his card. I mean, even from Megan Thee Stallion to I can put stories in a lot of these celebrities, but the one that stood out to me is always going to be 50 Cent. Right? Because that man has presence because of what you knew he'd been through, what he's accomplished, and how he don't give a crap about nobody else. He sticks in his lane. Everybody, I mean, I've through all the celebrities, I've ran across them, like talked to them, hit them, everything. Even had to do some other stuff. But that's when I look at him, and speaking from a guy with my background, like when you talk to him, it's like, oh man, this is why people gravitate to him and they listen. Right?
Yeah.
All right, the
Yeah.
self-fulfilling prophecy. Look at this graphic.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a beautiful thing when I finish with this thing.
So what ends up, so your self-fulfilling prophecy is essentially that's what we were talking about a little bit earlier about how your beliefs, they whatever you believe is what you're going to generate in your life. Right. The thing that you are focusing on, the thing that you're scared of, all of that, that's what you're going to bring into your life. Right. So a quick example is like when someone says, oh man, I'm no good at football. I can't catch. I can't catch at all. I suck at catching. I can't run routes. I'm just a horrible person at football. That person's not going to be able to catch. They're going to be horrible at football because their brain's going to take the message that they've given them and they're going to run that message. The belief is we're not good at football. And so when the ball comes, that's the event that has no meaning until we give it something. The meaning we give it is that perspective, that belief that we're no good. So it goes through that. And so the thought is, man, there's no way I'm going to catch this. It's too fast. It's too long. I'm not in the right position, whatever the case may be. Then fear and anxiety kick in. And then what ends up happening? You drop the ball. What happens then? You reinforce it. See, I knew I was going to drop the ball. I'm no good. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Any situation like that, your marriage, right? You might think, oh, I married the wrong person. They're horrible. I never should have married them. She's just the worst woman ever. Right. So now that's your belief, and then anything she does is going to be put through that lens. If you state all the needs that you have and she starts meeting them, oh, well, she didn't meet them good enough because if she really cared, she would. Oh, she really. And so that's the thought. Then the feeling is disgust, disdain, hurt, anger, frustration. And then what ends up happening is you take that out on her. You're just no good. So you don't listen. You don't really care. You're not considering me. You're just a horrible woman. See, I knew this. I should have listened to my parents. They said not to marry you. Whatever. Right? You guys get into a fight. She's hurt. She starts to withdraw. And then guess what happens? You just created the self-fulfilling prophecy. See, I knew she was no good. Look at how she talked to me and all those things, completely negating everything you just did to create that.
I was told to say
and you keep going in circles over and over and over and over again. Tony Robbins says you don't get the life you want. You said you get the life you focus on. It's the God honest truth. That's literally what this is. That's what a self-fulfilling prophecy is. So until you change that narrative, you're always going to get the same results. And that's why I was saying that with other things, you could do all the other 6 pillars and you could do them to the absolute T. Like you don't miss a beat. But if you don't do this one, if you don't learn how to change your narrative, if you don't start challenging things, then guess what? You are going to be miserable. Nothing else is going to work because you're going to only create that self-fulfilling prophecy. And again, I am speaking from experience as well.
So
not
am I.
My clients, not just what I read, not just what I watched, but also what I did.
We drink the Kool-Aid.
Story. I remember there was one time, and this is where I got a chance to really start using these things, right? And start questioning. So my wife was asking me a question. I never forget. She was in the bathroom. She asked me a question, not an attacking question, nothing like that. And I never forget, as she asked question, the immediate thing I did was cross my arms and said, "Here we go again." That's the immediate, the lens, the belief right through that. And the thought was, "Here we go again." And then I had to stop and ask myself the question, wait, pause, time out. All she did was ask a question. She didn't attack you. She didn't emasculate you. She didn't do nothing like that. Why are you sitting here all defensive with your arms crossed and all these things like that, right? I had to take it back to the lab, right? We talked about excavating the line, getting rid of that cancer. And then I started looking at it like, oh, shoot, you know what it is? In the past, when she used to ask me questions, again, it wasn't about her. It was about me. She didn't do anything wrong. It was about my perception in that case, right? And so what I had to do and go back, that's because I didn't love myself. I didn't believe in myself. Every time she asked a question about growth and things like that, I always thought like, oh man, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing good enough, blah, 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 whatever, right? So once I started changing that in the moment, guess what happened? The whole conversation changed. I changed this whole cycle here, all got flipped on its head. Because now with the new belief, the new perspective, it was she's asking a question because she cares about me, because she loves me. Oh, because she loves me, cares about me. Oh, that makes me feel good. That makes me feel cared for. That makes me feel loved. Now I feel calm. Now I feel peaceful. Now I'm even a little bit happy. So now what happens? My conversations are good. Now I'm engaging in a conversation with my wife. Now we're growing and getting close. And guess what that does? It reinforces new belief. And so, and I keep doing that over and over because we're talking about changing your belief. You have to continuously reinforce the new belief. right? And you start looking for that evidence where that new belief is reinforced. So where else does my wife care? Where else does she love me? Where else is she interested in my growth and seeing me be successful? Oh, and I start
Mhm.
picking all those things and I start reinforcing the belief. And now that's the only belief I have. So now when my wife asks me a question, I'm not thinking about, oh, I'm so horrible, I'm so bad, I'm so this. I'm not thinking about that. You know what I'm thinking about? Man, she really wants to see me succeed. Man, I really want to go out here and get it for her, and take care of her because she's so great and she's so awesome and I love her and all those things like that, right? So that's the self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, you get the life you focus on. You get, if you're only looking for the bad, that's all you're ever gonna see. And that's going to be very demoralizing for your wife, demoralizing for your children, and demoralizing for anybody who's around you. It's going to make people not want to be around you. And so then,
Right.
and hopefully,
That's
gentlemen,
huge.
hopefully you're not in those situations where your wife, springs divorce on you and you're acting all surprised, like, what happened? You know, or in a situation where you're springing divorce on her, like, oh yeah, she was just so horrible and she was just so this, she was just so that, without ever stopping to self-reflect and look like, was she though? What was she really? Was she really coming for me like I believe? Like I'm thinking she was coming for me? Was she really attacking me like I said she was attacking me? If you don't stop, I'm gonna be real honest, guys. If you don't stop to start really asking yourself that question, like, is this true? You start changing your beliefs, you're gonna run off a lot of great people in your life. You're gonna ruin
Yep.
a lot of phenomenal relationships. You're
Yep.
gonna miss out on so much love and care and connection and support and networking and all. You're gonna miss out on so much of that simply because you didn't choose to challenge these beliefs that are not serving you. Because those
Right.
negative beliefs, I'm telling you right now, they are not serving you. You think that they're designed to protect you, but you're not protected because you're still alone, you're still depressed, you're still overwhelmed, you still don't feel loved, you still don't feel like you're enough. You don't. You don't, because of those self-fulfilling prophecies and because of those beliefs.
Yeah, a lot of the times it's not about you. Just take that whole quote into everything. It's always not going to be about you. It's like,
Yeah.
it's if you make it not about yourself and
Exactly.
you make it about other people and you make it about things where you can change your belief, you interpret things better, you control your emotions, you take some sort of action, you're going to have a better experience and you're going to change your whole belief cycle like the slide says. Let me put this slide back up because
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to, right? When you can do that for yourself and you can reflect, people start respecting you even more because you're
Yeah.
seeing their side. You're
Yeah.
not bashing them. You're not cutting them down. It's like all these alpha gurus out here when they fell, right? All the trolls gonna come out because what we told you, you're a freaking asshole, right? But that's their lane. They like that. But then look what happens to them all in the same place. But
Yeah.
guys, you think about it. Take one belief today. See if you can challenge it. See if you can interpret it better. Change your emotion from it. Take some sort of little action and just practice that cycle, like it says in this thing. You're gonna have more opportunities and more things that people are gonna start opening up their walls to you, dropping their walls, and want to make more um, talk with you, more networking, like Doc said, and actually open the door for you to be a part of their life
Yeah.
and like intimately. Because
Yeah.
this is how I get through a lot of things in life. Because I had to open the things because my way is never just about the highway that I'm on. It's about pulling the tractor trailer and clearing the road for everybody else to come on the freeway with me
Yeah.
because of my experiences, because of my knowledge. And
Yeah.
this way, a lot of different people can actually benefit from it. But if you want to keep it all to yourself, then, but how
Yeah.
do you rebuild it? Right? This is the thing is, how do you rebuild it from a neurological standpoint?
Yeah. So what I would say is building from a neurological standpoint, you pick anywhere in that self-fulfilling prophecy cycle. Pick anywhere, right? If you want to
Let me go
start
back.
with the belief and
Oh, yeah,
challenging that,
shoot.
if you want to start with if you want to start with oh boy, we got a lot to go through. I don't know if we're gonna get through all that, Gordon.
Oh,
Uh
we can go through it. There's like two more, three more.
Yeah. You
Oh,
you can
let's
start
go with
doing
this one.
that cycle. You can start in changing the actions, but you have to understand why you're changing. I think that's the biggest thing. You have to really make sure that you understand that, okay, I'm changing because this isn't the right way to be. This isn't the right way to do it. Because you're tracking it back one way or the other. Maybe you
Yep.
start with the emotion, but then you check what thought made that emotion. Okay, what perspective made that thought? Okay, what belief is perpetuating this perspective? And so once you identify that, you start changing that, right? And you start changing, okay, how do I look at things now?
Mm,
Right?
mm.
I got to shift from looking for what's wrong to, okay, what's right? You know,
What's right?
that's what we need to start doing, making sure that's what we're looking for. And one of the things that I always try to tell people is that gratitude, a daily gratitude list, 3 things every day, not repeating. You will train your brain. Do that for like 60, 70, 90 days at the very least. 90 days, right? Do that every day for 90 days, and you will train your brain to find the positive. And whatever you want to change your belief about, right? Maybe it's like, again, I'll use like racism as an example. Let's say you're a white person, you hate black people, right? Instead of looking for all the bad for 90 days straight, find 3 things every day that's good about black people, right? Whether historically or someone you know, and not repeating. At the end of those 90 days, I promise you will probably be, dripped out in some African garbs. You'll probably be, and like, hey, black power, like you'll probably be like ready to go, like, because your brain will start seeing all the good, right? Your brain will
Yes.
start seeing all the good, So that's what we need to start doing. If you really want to make that shift and that change, that's what you have to do. That's a critical
We
part,
already
right?
went over it, guys, right? Identify the belief, change your habits, behavior, change everything, change the environment if you out, and the outcome is going to be completely different. And that's what
Yes.
you have to do because we have more of this, right?
Yeah.
Talk about the rewiring system, Doc, because you created this. It's almost like the SIR method.
Yeah. So when we talk about rewiring, right? I mean, again, like I was saying before, you got to be aware of what you're trying to change, right? Like just like anything else, like you're not even making any deep or therapeutic or anything like that.
Nope.
You can't change what you don't know. If you're in business, you cannot improve what needs to be improved in your business if you don't know what it is. And one of the worst things you could do is just throw money around and hope something works. No, you got to get
It
down
doesn't
to the
work,
nitty
right?
gritty and find out, okay, what exactly needs to be changed? What exactly belief is holding me back? Why am I crossing my arms? When my wife asks a question, I have to identify that. And so once you identify that, then you can start moving on to start changing it. You can start moving on to, okay, well, now that I identify what it is, okay, well, why do I do that? Okay, what is causing me to do that? Is it something that she's doing? Okay, well, there's nothing she's doing. So then it must be something with me. What's going on with me? Then you identify what's going on with you. And then you identify where it came from, right? So you're aware of what's going on. Now you identify where it came from. And now you say, okay, how is this benefiting me, right? Is this benefiting me? Is this helping me? Or what is it doing? What is it supposed to be doing? Right? Okay, it's supposed to be keeping me safe. Okay, well, is it working? Okay, it's not working. All right, it's not working. All right. Okay, so what would be a better thing that would give me a better outcome across the board that would help solve this issue, right? And a better thing to do would be just to listen, or coming from the standpoint of she loves me and she's not trying to hurt me, or there could be a number of different things, right? Of things you could look at and say, okay, yeah, this is a better way to look at it. And then, okay, now what do we got to do to actually start executing on this? What's that going to look like? Okay, well, maybe it's going to look like, I'm just listening, right? Maybe it's
Right.
going to look like I'm taking it in better. Maybe it's going to look like, maybe I don't know, give her a hug or a kiss or something like that. Or maybe I'm going to show more gratitude and appreciation for her caring about me and my career and where I'm trying to go. And
Mm-hmm,
then
mm-hmm.
what happens? You start acting that out. And then you continuously do that whenever those situations come up, and you want to reinforce a new belief. And that's how you change that. That's how you rewire it. And
Yeah.
then just again, plug that in for anything else. Plug it in for your kids. Oh, they're being disrespectful. That's why they're not taking their bath. They don't like me. They don't respect my authority. Or maybe they just like really playing the game. Maybe they
Yeah.
just really enjoy playing their game or watching their show or whatever it is that they're doing, right? Oh, that's different. You know, that's different. That's not disrespect. That's just, they just just like I like to do, and
Yeah.
that's something
They're
else as
different
well,
phases. That's all.
you know.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something else as well. Like a lot of times we judge people so harshly, and this is the part about it, right? A lot of times you do the exact same thing. A lot of
Yeah. In a
times you do
different
the
form
exact
all the
same
time.
thing. Yep.
Exact same thing,
Yep.
different form, different way, different style.
Yeah.
Guys, we're gonna tell you this, right? It does take practice, but according, like even with this slide, right? You just gotta identify the things we just talked about. execute some of the breath work what you have, and complete one commitment to build your confidence. If anything, we get through all these slides, through all these pillars, through all these system, is to
Yeah.
say what you're gonna do it, build up the momentum, and gain the confidence that you deserve. And then
Yeah.
you just look over what did you do today. Audit the day's action, like you said. Release the inner critic that you always judging people, like Doc said. A lot
Yeah.
of times you judge people so hard that you forgot to judge yourself and change yourself about what you got going on. And once you start doing that, it's like, ooh, you know what I mean? You kind of change. Then forget about the failures. There's only lessons in life. Learn from the lesson, learn from the loss. There is no losers here. There's
Yeah.
only benefit, gains, and momentum and confidence and to move on. And
Yeah.
he's learn from the fear, because the core rule is identity is not a permanent declaration. It is a daily repetition of who you want to become and where you want to be. Right?
Yeah.
If I wouldn't be here, if I didn't make a commitment to myself sitting on my rack for all those years,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have my life I have now with Doc. Because say, I'll give you a perfect situation. When me and Doc created this thing, right? Went to his office. He don't know crap about me. But through the years, he's figured out, oh, this month, he's okay. And so
Mhm.
my vice versa with Doc. Because skepticism, do I know he's put in the work, but I put in different kind of work. And
Mhm.
together, the synergy and everything works out simply great.
Yeah.
Because, he's seen knuckleheads. I've
Mhm.
worked with docs that just are full of themselves. But
Mhm.
what I mean? It just worked out great because we want to give you the pen to reauthor your life, like this next slide says, right?
Yeah.
This is the last slide, Doc.
Yeah. Yeah. And just it
So
just reinforces, right? It
yes,
reinforces, guys, that you get a chance to choose the type of life you want. You do.
oh,
Your
100%.
life and everything that comes into it, it's going to be on you. And it's all about how you respond to it, what you do and how you respond to the things that happen. And I'll be quite honest, and again, you guys know I'm a man of faith. When it comes to personal responsibility, this is part of it. This is part of it, right? Because I know if you are a Christian,
Mhm, mhm.
on Judgment Day when you stand before God, you're not gonna be able to blame anybody else.
Nope.
You're not gonna be able to. You can't blame your wife. You can't blame your kids. You can't blame the white man. You can't blame the black man. You can't blame Trump. You can't blame Biden. You can't blame Putin. You can't blame your parents. You're not going to be able to blame anybody. Every single thing in your life is going to flash before you, and God's going to show you where you should have, where you could have made a decision, where you had the opportunity to make a decision, where you had opportunity to write a different story, right? And so at the end of it, what's going to happen is if you don't make any changes, again, in Christendom, right, then you go to hell. You end up going to hell. And you'll know exactly why. It'll be very, very, very clear, right? Now, for those who are not believers, or it's no different. It's no different. Like I said before, if you don't change how you think, if you don't change the narrative, if you don't look at things differently, you're going to be in a physical secular hell, whatever you want to call it. You're going to be depressed all the time, sad, feel alone, like no one loves you, like your efforts don't matter, like you're useless, like you're being used, like you're being gaslit, and nobody understands me. Oh, you're going to be in that same type of hell. Well, not the same type of hell. The hell there.
Right.
Right. But you're still going to be, so not the same type of hell, but you're still going to be in hell, right? Because who wants to live that way? Who wants to live that way? And then, unfortunately, because you don't change your perspective, you don't change your narrative, you keep creating the same issues and problems that you don't like.
Yes.
I'll give you one last story.
Yeah.
My son, he's 15, he'll be 16 this year, right? He used to lie. He used to lie a lot. Right?
Okay.
And I always used to think, oh my gosh, I ain't to beat it out of him and all these things like that. And how dare he? He better not disrespect me, and blah, 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 blah. Right? But guess what I kept doing? The more I was adding that force and the more he would lie.
The more distant,
the more force,
the more distant,
the more lie, and the more distant. And now I'm creating the cycle.
I was just about to say.
What did I end up doing? I had to change the narrative. Oh,
had to change the direction.
I had to change the direction. Not him. I had to change the direction because he was a child. He was responding to me. He's now learning the behaviors. It's not safe to open up because when I
that,
open up, I get hurt, right? So
yep.
I had to change the narrative. All right. I got to make sure that I am safe at all times.
Yeah.
The belief I now have is I am a safe father. What does a safe father do? He provides a place where my children's thoughts and feelings can be heard, validated, and understood. So did that change his behavior right out the gate? No, but it
No.
changed over time. It
Yeah.
changed over time. And then
And
guess what ended up
tell them
coming
what
out?
happened just recently, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell
And
them just what happened recently that he opened up to you at that event, right?
oh, which event? I don't remember which event.
No, you guys went to an event together and he opened up to you, but it's
Oh
built
yeah,
up
yeah,
to
yeah.
this
Oh yeah, that's
point.
right. Yeah, yeah. There were a couple of times where that's happened since I've changed that, right? Since I changed that
Right.
narrative, right? And so what happened is I had to rewrite the story. I got my pen and I was like, okay, I want my son to be able to trust me. I don't want him to end up like I end up when I was a child,
Dig it.
right? So in order for me that to happen, what does this story have to look like? The story has to look like I'm a safe father. What does a safe father do? He's loving, he's caring, he's open, he's non-judgmental, he doesn't raise his voice, he has a calm tone, he's always there, he's supportive, he gives his child the space to open up and share his thoughts and feelings. He asks his child his perspective. He makes his child know that he matters. That's what a safe father does. So guess what I'm now going to do? I'm going to run that program. Everything's running through that new program, that new perspective. So every thought that comes up, I'm not thinking, oh my gosh, he's being sneaky. It's like, okay, well, hey, he probably has something that maybe he doesn't feel safe open up about. All right. So that's going to be, okay, well, I need to make sure I'm calm then. The emotions, I need to be calm. I need to be loving. I need to be caring. I need to be supportive, right? And then guess what happens? The action, that's what it turns out to be. We sit down, it's calm. I give him this space. Hey, you want to share and open up? Sure. If you don't want to share and open up, hey, I just want to make sure it's safe for you, right? Do that enough times, and guess what? No more lying. No more
Yeah.
lying. I didn't chalk it up to, well, they're just being teenagers. Like, no more.
You
It was,
cannot.
no, he's a
I won't do
human
that.
being who has needs, who wants to be loved, and I just did that. But I had to change the narrative, and I have plenty of stories, not just with him, but with all my kids, with my
Yeah,
wife, with the students,
clients,
with clients
everybody.
across the board of where I took the pen and I changed the narrative. This is who I want to be. This is how I want to show up. This is what my identity is. This is what I
Yes.
believe in. I don't care about what Trump believes in. I don't care about what Biden believes in. I don't care about what my mother or my father or the system or black people
It's
or
you.
I don't care what you believe in. I care what I believe in.
You.
And that's what's going in my story. Because guess what? As I write my story and as I finish it and it's done and I close the book and I stand before God, I want him to say, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Let's look at your life and see how you changed your story, how you impacted lives, and how you loved people, and how you were caring, and how you were non-judgmental, and how people felt safe around you, and how come someone didn't want to take their own life because you were loving and you were there and you answered the phone. That's the narrative. I want God to read back my book, and I want to be proud of what I see. I want him to be proud of me, but I want to be proud of what I see. I don't want to look at my past with disgust. I want to look at my story about how it turned out great. And everybody lived happily ever after, the end. That's what I want my story to look like. My wife was completely in love with me. My kids, they loved me. I had a phenomenal relationship with my mom and my siblings and my friends. I impacted the community. I am writing that narrative. I am.
Beautiful.
I'm not
Beautiful.
leaving this pen in anybody else's hand.
Nope.
I snatched it away a long time ago. And now I hold it. And now I write the story. I'm encouraging
It's the
you
same, right?
to do the same thing. Stop letting other people write your story. You snatch the pen away because the power's in your hands. I'm going to tell you this right now, though, that if you don't, you're the only person to blame. You're the only person to blame. At the end of your life, you might look back at all these people that you'll be the only person to blame. And then the last, and if you're a Christian, the last place you want to be is in front of God. And he's like, yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, yeah, it ain't looking too good. It ain't looking too good right now, bro.
Yeah. And that's a big fear because with all the bad stuff I've done in my life, and you look at what kind of been, I'll tell you the honest truth, right? When I came back out this last time, right? I always used to wish, give me one more shot. I just want to have a mortgage. I want to have a family. And that's what the promise I made to not just myself, to him, because Like you said, when you go up to God and you go to that, and that thing is, He's going to ask you, what did you do to you for your chance? What
Yeah.
did you do to impact people's lives using the all the turmoils, the tribulations, the challenge that you've been through? What did you do? This is
Yeah.
why I'm so passionate about helping men,
Hmm.
helping Real Talk program, and we got another podcast coming in on that one, right? What did you do? I can list down a myriad of facts of life, the challenges, and the people I've done. And it's all because I also changed the pen. I
Yeah.
did a different book. Literally, I wrote 7 books, and not even the book of life. And I'm changing the cycles and everything else. Because why? We use the chance you were given for a better future. Because I don't want to judge people on how people, I don't want to like say people judging me about the materialistic things I had or anything. I want to see how people get impacted from my story, from my teachings, from my
Yeah.
things, from my work with Doc. Because at the end of the day, the only person you have to face is that man up above.
Yeah.
And whether you squandered it off or not, and you didn't write your own story and you didn't change with the time, because time is short, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you come down to a lot of different things that's happening. But I just want to say, you know, I mean, just to, you know, when you look at everything that's you've been in through your life, and you could be in a situation where you might seem to come out of it. This is what we want to help you do, because
Yeah.
we could give you the blueprint. We could, you know, what I mean, let's be real honest, right?
Yeah.
The current strategy, the falling out that you might have had, or broken relationships, divorce, kids, I've done it all, right?
Hmm.
Lost business, lost money, lost materialistic, lost things, and I try to fix it my way. Didn't work out,
Yeah.
right? But when you work with a brotherhood, when you work with proven things that want the help from you and support you, bring you up, you know, it's costing you something anyway. You're already paying for it. Why not change with something with people that have? And that's where, even like for the slides that we had, guys, if you want the slides, you want the PDF, let me know, because I've just downloaded so that we can give it to you as a guide, right? Join the community right here. You can get the blog.boundariesandbrotherhood.com. You can join our free communities. Look it down below. Join our free community where I put stuff in there. Go.boundariesandbrotherhood.com. There are motivational stuff. There is AI stuff. There's quote cards. There is carousels to get you through the day so that you can move on. Because at the end of the day, guys, me and Doc's experiences, we are just a messenger
Yeah.
from what coming from them. If you don't get it, you don't want it, that's fine. But if you're in a situation where you want change, please leave a comment. Come see us. Join the community. I put daily stuff in there. This things that I get in there, we can guide you to where you want to be, so you can have the light at the end of the tunnel, so that you can be comfortable in your own skin with your own beliefs and have the tools in your toolbox to challenge everything that you got. Doc, this is a pretty good one. And we always
Yeah.
do good with slides anyway.
Yep.
Any closing remarks?
Um, I would just say this is it, guys. Like, it really is on you to make that decision in your life. I would say that it's on you to make that decision. All the information is there. That'll never be an excuse. When you stand, again, we stand before God, stand before anybody or anything like that. You look back on your life,
Anybody,
there will never be an
anybody,
excuse,
yourself, your
right?
shadow.
Because while yes, yeah, I mean, bad things might have happened to you and things along those lines, at some point in time, again, you got to pick up the pen and say, yeah, bad things have happened to me, but I'm not going to let things continue to happen to me. I'm not going to view things that way. I'm going to look at things differently. We have the power to do that. We have the power to do that. And unless we take that pen, unless we start authoring our own life, unless we start rewriting the narrative, your life is going to stay exactly the same. Doesn't matter how many seminars you go to, doesn't matter how much money you spend, doesn't matter how many books you read or podcasts you watch, or doesn't matter. It will be exactly the same. You must change the narrative. You have to. It's critical. That's the lens through where all your blessings are going to come from. It's going to be that narrative, right? Again, you don't get the life that you want, you get the life you focus on, and your brain is
Yep.
focused on things that are going to be destructive. It's not, listen, it's not survival, it's destruction. It will lead you to destruction, right? So pick up the pen, make the decision, change your narrative.
All right, guys. This is pillar number 7, the mind shift change, taking back the pin in your life. Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brotherhood.
All right, you guys
We'll
take
see you
care.
guys next week.